It is going to be incredibly difficult for a Democrat to ever win a national election again, and here's why. The big thing that drives voters nowadays is a charismatic individual with wild promises. It is the exact reason that Donald Trump won the presidency in 2016 in the first place. Trump was a polarizing candidate with wild promises who knew how to work a crowd. Hillary Clinton was not. Joe Biden only won the presidency in 2020 because he was riding the coattails of the Obama train. Democrat voters remembered how good the Obama presidency was and was hoping that Joe Biden could bring some of that magic back. Obviously, that wasn't necessarily the case, but he was still better than Trump. And then Trump won again in 2024 because people had become disenfranchised with the Biden administration, and electing his vice president didn't seem like a viable option. Meanwhile, the consistency on the right side of the aisle has been a charismatic individual with wild promises. That is the one thing I can give Donald Trump credit for, is he knows how to work a crowd. That power is being horrifically abused, and we're seeing the after effects of that, but he does know how to work a crowd. Now, to be fair, for the left side of the aisle, we definitely saw that in New York City with the election of Mamdani as the mayor. Zoran Mamdani is an incredibly charismatic individual and absolutely knows how to work a crowd. It does just so happen that he also intends to stand on business and actually has some decent plans for the city of New York, from what it sounds like. And they are things that he can hopefully follow through on if he doesn't get sabotaged by the current administration. But for God's sakes, in the couple of nights leading up to the election, the guy was showing up in like gay bars and, partying with DJs and stuff. How do you not like that? But no, the point still stands that people on both sides of the aisle are currently looking for polarizing candidates who are going to make these big promises to enact change. Conservative voters were tired of the status quo of the Obama administration, so their side's candidate was a polarizing individual who promised to change everything about what happened with the Obama administration, regardless of whether or not it was good. Hell, the same thing could be said about Obama in 2008. Obama was incredibly charismatic and knew how to work a crowd. He was definitely the more favorable option over his Republican opponents. And unfortunately, that is what national voting has come down to these days. Or just voting in general. The conservative platform for the last 10 years has literally been own the libs. Conservatives have been consistently voting for Trump, especially now in the MAGA phase, because his promises are just owning the libs. He is literally undoing every single thing a Democrat has tried to do. And then some. And then when people on the left get outraged at the legitimately horrible things that he is doing, it just drives the conservatives further because their opposition is being triggered. That is all conservatives want anymore, is just to trigger the libs. They don't care about any kind of policy. They don't care about pushing the country forward. They just want to own the opposition. Hell, we're even seeing that on the international scale with, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. He has this obsession with power and showing the strength of the United States military. The entire international policy of the United States military is just owning the opposition. That is literally the entire campaign platform of the Trump administration from top to bottom. It is a deck measuring contest. And the vast majority of us rational people don't care about strength. The entire point of life is not to demonstrate how strong you are, unless that strength is being used to lift others up. I have made this stance incredibly clear on this platform before. What the fuck is going on with the camera? Okay, after that little technical difficulty there, but no, I have made that stance incredibly clear on this platform from the beginning. I abhor war. I abhor violence. The only strength that we should be showing to the rest of the world is bringing the entire world together to cooperate as one cohesive unit. And again, I know this is a problematic stance to have in a lot of circles because there are so many people who believe that a one world government is like this overarching conspiracy, like Illuminati level, like shit. Which is obviously not what I am calling for. I am not calling for a one world government. I would just like the governments that currently exist in the world to work cooperatively with each other, exchanging resources and, helping societies build each other up, when they're desperately in need. If anything, the closest I can liken it to is I would like something like the Federation from Star Trek. I almost said Star Wars. That's a war crime in that one in and of itself. But yeah, in the Star Trek universe, Earth is just operating cohesively as one unit and trying to further humanity and push us to the stars and push us to exploration and advancements in science. That is literally the best possible outcome for humanity we could possibly have. Why would you not want that? A world of peace where everybody's working together to build up humanity. Peace through strength is ridiculous. All peace through strength is just a war of attrition. That's not peace, that's just tiptoeing through life. Someday, somebody is going to get pissed off at the party with the most strength and is going to try something. Whether or not it is a fruitful attempt is irrelevant. Once somebody breaks that tension that peace through strength is sitting on, it's over. Like, the world is already stressful enough. We don't need this constant dick measuring back and forth between world leaders to make things even worse. I have had so many people tell me that my ideal for the world is impossible, that we have just given up so far on humanity that lasting peace is impossible, because as long as shitty people exist, violence will continue. And to me, that is a ridiculous notion. You are not born a shitty person. You are taught to be a shitty person. Nobody is born inherently evil. This is a ridiculous notion. Everyone is born innocent, and the world teaches them to be evil. As advanced of a species as we are, with the level of sapience that we have, we should be doing better. We have the ability to rise above the animalistic instinct inside us that excludes us to tribalism. We do not have to be competing factions in life. We have the ability and the resources to lift each other up, and that needs to start happening. Whatever it takes, I don't care. But those of us with more resources should be building a bigger table, not a bigger wall. Humanity has got to do better before it's too late.